Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking, or watching, I should say, we're going to be watching the Diablo video that they showed from the actual developers themselves of the Endgame. They go into the Endgame and tell us about the Paragon system, the Fields of Hatred, the dungeons. They tell us lots about what the Endgame is. Now, this information's been out there before, but they've actually did a video of it talking more in depth about it. So we're going to watch it. I'm going to give you my thoughts. We're going to have a discussion, good, bad, kind of meh, whatever you feel. That's what we're going to do here. If you like this type of content, please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Helps this channel out. We're a very small channel, and the ratio of people watching and people liking it, it helps push the algorithm to get to other people. All right. Good morning, chat. Let's switch on over to the video here. If the audio is good for you guys. And we will be pausing. We're not going to be watching just the video. They're going to speak. I'm going to answer back and forth. We're going to have a conversation with you guys in chat as well.
We're really excited about getting this game into players' hands and letting them experience this massive world.
A main cornerstone of D4 is play your way. As a player continues to advance through the story and into the endgame, they'll unlock a ton of brand new activities that provide meaningful progression.
All right, first thing off the bat, right? First thing off the bat, what I like about this, and I talk about this all the time in games with looters, is that the upside down triangle, right? And what Diablo has right now, I said a game that did a really good job with the Upside Down Triangle is Lost Ark, which is also another RPG. Lost Ark did a really good job because you played through the campaign. There was many, many things to do. And then when you got to the end game, there was like 10, 12 different things that you could do in the end game. And you, the player, could decide what you wanted to do. Now, there's other conversations to have about the time gates and stuff in that game. But just the premise or the structure of the game, it gets bigger and bigger as you play through, and that's a good start.
No matter their playstyle.
Players will be able to keep progressing in the narrative of the game. Alongside that, the whole team has worked on crafting a variety of different...
It looks... Not her.
In the narrative of the
look
game.
At the character.
Alongside...
For some reason, I don't know why, this character reminds me of, like, Snow White. She, like, looks like with the yellow dress. I don't know why.
Like that, the whole team has worked on crafting a variety of different experiences players can pursue.
We're going to have an entire world of Sanctuary for our players to offer. There's going to never be an absence of something to do.
After the player has finished the campaign, there's a lot more game to go and participate in. They gain access to a special, what we call capstone dungeon that they have to complete.
Didn't they have this in Lost Ark as well, guys? They had a thing you had to do before you could progress to the next thing. I'm okay with this, right? My issue with the world tiers, we had this problem in Division 2. Nothing really matters when you're playing through the game what tier you get. Put the biggest number. Yeah, honing. Thank you, boss. They had, in Division 2, you would go through the story campaign and get to you be in tier 1 or whatever, right? And then you would go, it didn't matter, just put the biggest number on to do the most damage, and then tier 1. Then you would do a certain couple of attractions or dungeons, whatever you want to call them, strikes, and then you would go to tier 2, and then same thing over and over, and you kind of like skip through tier 1, 2, 3, just to get to the end game, which is the end game, which is like tier 5 or whatever it was, or tier 6, world tier 6, I think it was. And then that's where you start looking for the gear. What do you guys think about stuff like that? I don't really like that because it's like fluff in the middle, you know? Like back in the day, the regular game and then like the tier 1 was like the end game. And then they're like, oh, you know what? Let's add tier 2. Let's add tier 3. Let's add tier 4. Now, I know Diablo always has like the tiers, and then they have the torments, and then and whatnot. But to me, that's just the fluff in between to the actual what you're going for.
Once they're able to finish this capstone dungeon, they're going to gain access to the first world tier.
As you complete the world tier, it will open up the opportunity for you to go into your
Exactly,
next world
Jesse.
tier. That involves unlocking powerful loot, new items, and more advantages for your player to have a better opportunity at endgame.
Whether you're a fan of dungeons, PvP, or just roaming around the world, there's a way to continue your Diablo adventure long after hitting max level.
Now, I want to go back for a second because there's a... So obviously, there's the adventure, right? And that's what we're all going to be going to do. Now, the hardcore people are going to run through the adventure ASAP, right? ASAP, or they're going to start at veteran level, right? I'll probably start up adventure level just to go through the story, but then I'm trying to think, well, if I'm going to go through the story at that, I might as well do veteran and just get it over with type of thing, right? As soon as they get past veteran, they're going to go to nightmare, do the things they have to do in nightmare, and then continue on to torment level, okay? So it says players who desire more challenge from levels 1 through 50, that's the veteran level.
That involves
I believe he goes to the, no, they don't show it. But it just goes up in skills. And obviously, the fluff that's in the middle, the hardcore people are just going to go straight to the torment as fast as possible. So it's really not there, right? It's like, why go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 when you can just 2, skip a shift, go to 4, skip a shift, go to 8.
Items and more advantages for your player to have a better opportunity at endgame.
Whether you're a fan of dungeons, PvP, or just roaming around the world, there's a way to continue your Diablo adventure long after hitting max level. As your character continues to grow in power, you'll start with the skill tree and expand out into...
Even though we played the skill tree, in Diablo 3, all they did was take the nodes and then like put it in a tree format. They took the skill tree. To me, is not like, remember those early designs of the skill tree they had? You guys ever play Albion Online, or did you guys ever play? I'm trying to think of another game that had like an actual skill tree. This is just taking the menu format, putting it into a tree format, and saying it's a skill tree type of thing. I mean, it's okay. I had no issues with it, but I don't really think that... I wouldn't really call this a skill tree.
It's a Paragon system.
A lot of the choices the players make are grounded on skills themselves and the fantasies associated with those skills.
Here's what I'm interested in. The little Paragon board here.
Paragon board is a place where we allow you to have a lot more depth, a lot more customization, many more options as you go.
You can rotate the board, so you can choose a different...
All right, let's rewind this for a second. I want to look at this. I'm gonna
Fantasies associated with
stop
those
it real
skills.
fast on here. Okay, so the Paragon, it says normal node plus 5 dexterity. Okay, and if you want to refund it, it's going to cost you 53,666 at that particular level. You can see the skills on the side where it's strength, intellect, willpower, and dexterity. Obviously, he's got 4.1 million coins, and he's just popping them like, you know, like pills here. He's going to the next one, which is another plus 5 strength. Going to the next one, another plus 5 strength. Plus 5 intelligence. So all you're doing from this point on, and this is not a downplay on it, but once you hit the Paragon level, you're going to want to try to find glyphs, and you're going to try to just push up. So if you're a barbarian, obviously strength is king. So you're going to try to go for all strength build. You know, I like this, but at the same time, I don't think it's like groundbreaking for what the Paragon system is. It's like a random bingo card, and you can rotate it in the way that you want to get what you need for your character. So if you get a random card and all of a sudden, again, why is it random when you get the card that you can rotate when if you're looking for strength and your card doesn't have that much strength on there, it's making you pick certain things. So for instance, if you look at this, this is strength. This is this is intelligence. If I need an intelligence, I can go up for intelligence here, but then intelligence, then I'm moving towards the wrong way. So then I have to hit intellect, right? Or I'm going to back around to come back towards strength. So you got to plan your route out to the edges so you can then go to your next Paragon form, right? I don't think you can like fill in. Maybe you can. fill in like the entire card. You're gonna fill in the entire. You're gonna try to fill in the entire card as best as you can. What do you guys think about this Paragon system here? Here's a legitimate question. Travis says, "Will the game have anything to do that's going to help us this or single player or nope? Will be finished in the game, so play with others. That's it." What do you mean, like a matchmaking system, Travis? Is that what you're asking? That's in a game, but this game keeps on spitting out content, so that's the plan. Bingo. What's going on, George? It's random, so they can sell you a different one when it. I don't think they're selling the Paragon level systems, Travis. The in-game content is beating harder dungeons and getting better gear. Sure. Right? It's getting there, but the thing is though, boss, a lot of people play the game and they fly through the game, right? They fly through the game on the hardest level and they get to that point. And then they're like, then what? Right? Then they're looking at, even though they put so much content in the game, they're like, then what? Right? It doesn't matter what happens. The most vocal people or the most minority people, and the minority people in any game are going to run through the game, the 1%ers. And there's going to be a problem here with this. This is why, if you read the comment section afterwards, you see a lot of people not happy with this. It's too simplistic. It's too... Personally, for me, I'm like, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I'm saying it will become pointless if you don't have a friend to play with. I don't think it'll become pointless. I think that's why the open world is in the game now, Travis, right? There's like world bosses and different things to do in the open world. There's different events, different things that can happen. There's the fields of hatred, which they'll talk about for PvP. So I wouldn't say there's no point if you don't have anybody to play with. No gear in the end game. Trying to find the perfect gear. There's over 100 dungeons. Yeah, 120 dungeons, they said, not including making the harder version. Jesse Max says, I like the skill tree in Jedi Fallen Order better than the D4 skill tree. To me, that's the skill tree in D4 is literally like, hey, let's make a skill tree in D4. Let's take these things in a line like this, and let's move them like this. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's a good skill tree. Excellent. No. Yeah, but you can play everything in this game single player, Travis. So I don't really understand your question. I really don't understand your question because you can play the entire game single player. And then when you're done playing, whatever that is, if it's you're tired of the game, you're bored of the game, you've beaten the game, played every character in the game, you put the game down. Most majority of gamers play D4 will be well busy with this stuff. Oh, for sure. But for some reason, you look at the forums and the Reddit posts, right, which is a low tier, like a small percentage of people, and even YouTubers that I was listening to, and they're all us like, it's okay. And I'm like, interesting. I'm like, all right. I think they're actually making changes that other past, light MMOs or looters have missed in the past as far as the end game, right? I did not, Stealth. I did not.
We're allowed to have a lot more depth.
Right? So here's the customization. I'm gonna mute this for a second, then we'll rewind it. Right? He's just going through the card, and do they show the rotation? I thought they showed the rotation. Yeah. So you can rotate the card. You can see where it is. And if you, again, I'm going to use the Barbarian as an example. If you need strength, you want to build up your strength. Again, all they've done here, and I don't know if this is like better or worse, in Diablo 3 that I just started playing a couple months ago, once I got to the Paragon, I just click on over to strength, right, to that ability, and then just level up my strength. There's no board. It just literally choose strength and then put the points into strength, or put the points into intellect, or put the points into stuff. This rotating of the board, what does that bring? And I'm seriously asking chat, what does it bring to the game to make it different? How does it change the landscape of the game besides not letting me choose all strength, right? That I have to now pick intellect every once in a while. Instead of in D3, right? I just go strength, 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 1 point into intellect, 1 point. Now I have to go strength, intellect, intellect, intelligence, intelligence, dexterity, strength, right? You can't get there. You have to pick things that you don't want to pick to get what you want. Where the past one was just put them in the points that you wanted, right? Is this better or worse? I don't know. I'm kind of looking at it going, I think it's worse, because I want to put it in where I want to put it in, not push me off a whole level and go, all right, well, now I have to pick intelligence. Boss says, yeah, but that's your choice. I had more choice before, though. Right? I had more choice before than I have now, though, boss. I'm getting a random card. Okay? I'm getting a random card. And then I'm stuck with whatever the design is. Oh, your choice was the Travis. I got it. Okay. Thank you. Maybe to open the door for complete customization. But is this complete customization, though, Quintar? You know what I mean? I don't know. Because you're turning the board, and you can only start from the connecting points. So you're limited to where you can start and what you can do, right? When you're going up this board here, you have to pick strength, intelligence, whatever, before you can get to the actual things you want. I'm sure there'll be an optimized way to do this to benefit your character most. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Might have to get some. Yeah, I just don't know. And maybe these glyphs again come in big, right? And they change a lot of things. Maybe you could purchase a random start point. I don't know if you could start a random. You see, like this card, right? So the last one here is the gate, right? It just looks like the gate, right? And then you go through the gate, and then you're stuck. So the only thing I can think of, okay, this is strength, I think. This is intelligence. This is, I don't know what this one is. This is dexterity. And, oh, I'm sorry. This is willpower down here. So, okay, you left off on strength. Now your card comes in, and this particular card at the starting point of each corner has one of each, right? So then I would rotate the card to strength, and then I would pick strength. So now I'm going off of strength. And then after strength, now I get to pick, right? So this is strength, and now I get to pick which direction do I want to go. I can go straight, okay, for dexterity, or I can go for strength again. Oh, I'm sorry, willpower, or I can go for dexterity, right? So this particular thing, I'm stuck with either dexterity, or willpower before I can get to the next one, which is this one up here, which is another strength. With the old system, I could just pick strength type of thing. It felt rushed in a way that makes any sense. Isn't it 30? What do you mean it felt rushed? Dex the ability to dodge and make enemies, I think attack speed, willpower, might be skill damage or so. I see a blank space in there. Those could add start nodes. See blank spaces. In this particular picture? I don't see any blank spaces. I feel like I'm looking for Waldo. Oh, you talking about the gaps? Like the gaps in between, George? Is that what you're talking about? issue I see for me will be the games feels different with each class, or does it feel just like another coat of paint? No, no, they feel completely different. At least in the 25 levels that I played for each of the characters. Right. And you see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Quintar. Right? So the choice I have as the character in Diablo 4 compared to Diablo 3. Diablo 3, I had a choice of the Paragon levels. I'm leveling up. I want to do a strength build with my Barbarian. And I just keep putting strength in. I just keep putting strength in. Right? That's my choice. They're all open to me at all time. In this, I got to look at the card. I'm like, okay, well, now, realistically, I'm taking time. I'm looking at it going, okay, well, what do I want to do? In my next 10 levels of Paragon, what can I do here? Okay, well, I need strength. Where can I get the most strength? Because maybe I'm coming off of strength from the last card, going into this card, and then all of a sudden, everything around this strength is dexterity, right? And I'm like, well, that means in the next 10 levels, I can only get 7 strength, or 3 strength. There's 7 things between me and getting to where I want. So maybe I have to pick a dexterity one and then find out if there's more strength around that. You see what I'm saying? And I wonder if this is a tactic by the company going, well, people were just leveling up super fast, making the builds too easily, and then they were going through the content too fast. I don't know. And now this is a way to kind of like slow us down, even for incremental time of, well, he can't get his build to strength super fast. And it costs you quite a bit. I mean, just for each thing, it was 53,000 for one node, and we don't know how much of a level he was. All right, let's continue. I'll back up and we'll continue through this.
Paragon board is a place where we allow you to have a lot more depth, a lot more customization.
How is it more depth, though? I don't understand how it's more depth.
Many more options as you go.
You can rotate the board, so you can choose a different path if you're like, I want to do more strength-based things, right? I want these particular boons or glyphs. You can chart your path through it, and they're really a way for you to keep expanding your character and making it uniquely yours.
I hear the words coming out of their mouth, but I don't understand how it's more depth, because there's things that increase ability damage or other stuff like that. Yeah, but what does that have to do with the Paragon board, boss? You know what I'm saying? The way they just speak of it, there's nothing there to like, oh, what am I looking at this gold thing here that I have to get to?
First place where we allow you to have a lot more depth, a lot more customization.
Okay, what was that? Hold on. What was that?
A lot of the choices the players make are grounded on skills themselves and the fantasies associated with those skills. The Paragon board is a place where we allow you to have a lot more depth.
So that thing that he just picked, you deal 5% increased damage for each nearby enemy that crowd control up to 25. So on the actual card, there's what, 5? Okay, I see what's happening here.
Depth.
So on the Paragon card, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 things here that give you extra legendary, like a legendary
lot more customization, many more options as you go.
You can rotate the board, so you can choose a different path if you're like, I want to do more strength-based things, right? I want these particular boons or glyphs. You can chart your path.
See, again, I look at this and go, this glass is different than any glass ever before, okay? With this glass, not only can you hold it with this hand, but you can hold it with this hand. You can also hold this glass underneath, right? I can also hold the glass like this, okay? I can also drink it like this, and I can turn the glass around and drink from the other side. It's like, I don't understand. How is this different and more choice? More variety glass. Yeah.
author it, and they're really a way for you to keep
This is what I mean about the skill tree.
expanding your character and making it uniquely yours.
Similar to the Paragon boards is the Codex of Power. It's an in-game system that holds the aspects related to the character. You are able to complete a dungeon, and they will have a chance to drop an aspect that you can pick up.
And what this allows players
The aspects, the glyphs, those are things I understand that can make you more powerful. But the Paragon system where you have more choice, I don't have more choice, I have less choice.
to do is take items they're finding in the world and make them more powerful, turn them into legendary items.
It's really special.
I have nothing against it, boss. I just don't like how they're selling it. Right? They're selling it. They're selling it in a way that makes it sound like it's much better, but there's less actual choice in that system than the last system. Right? I should turn on Diablo 3 right now just to show. Like, if you play Division, if you play any other game, you can literally go to the skill and go, all right, I have 10 points. I'm going to put the points where I want them. And you just put them into the points. This one, you have 10 points. You're like, I got to put 3 of them into intellect. I got to put 4 of them into dexterity. And then I can put the other 3 into whatever else.
To discover what kind of playstyle really means the most to you. Every part of Sanctuary is fulfilling and satisfying. Dungeons in particular are really close to my heart. Nightmare dungeons are going to give the players the opportunity to experience a dungeon that they might have already experienced in their past playthroughs. They'll enter the dungeon with a found sigil that alters the playstyle and the intensity of the dungeon.
They're more
Okay, so you get to basically make the difficulty harder. So now I'm in Torment, and then I do a blood sigil, and now I can make the same dungeon now in Torment, which is now already hard. I can make it an additional hard on top of that, and it drops better reward.
difficult, and they have additional objectives, and then they also have affixes, which add a degree of difficulty for you and your group to work through.
One of my favorite affixes that you can find in Nightmare Dungeons is actually called Hellgate. Occasionally, these portals will open up throughout the area that will just pour out different monsters that aren't native to that region for you to also be dealing with while you're trying to handle everything else inside the dungeon. There's over 120 dungeons to play through and find in Diablo IV, and any one of them can become a Nightmare Dungeon. By finding a Nightmare Sigil,
So that means there's literally 240 dungeons.
and then using it to activate the Nightmare version of that dungeon space.
Everything's a little darker, everything's more difficult. It's going to add a little bit of a twist of flavor on your particular dungeon.
There's some target
No, Jesse, I think with the Paragon system, I don't think you can skip and then pick. You have to basically draw the line wherever you want to go, right? You have to go to the next, because here, if I go back to the Paragon system real fast. Man, did we go that far already? My goodness. Yeah, when they're picking here,
particular boons.
see when they're picking, it glows. So it looks like you can pick. If this is what you can do, so when you pick one, the next one turns red in the direction. So if you stop here and then you can go, okay. So you can stop, go to the next direction, but it's still not giving me more choice. It's still giving me less choice than I had before. But yeah, when you click one, it turns red and around the ones. So if I start going this direction, and then I decide I don't want to go anymore, I can start going the opposite direction with another node. Again, with the pass system, I could just go up one category and then scroll down to the next and continue doing it.
And find in Diablo IV, and any one of them can become a Nightmare Dungeon. By finding a Nightmare Sigil, and then using it to activate the Nightmare version of
How often do we get these Nightmare Sigils? What's the drop rate?
that dungeon space.
Everything's a little darker, everything's more difficult. It's going to add a little bit of a twist of flavor on your particular dungeon.
And can we buy these?
There's some targeted activities in Diablo 4 that suit what you're feeling in the mood for.
The Forces of Hell are starting to have more influence in certain parts of Sanctuary in the vast interconnected overworld that we experience. And as the players are going into Helltide areas, you're gonna find even more powerful monsters. And by killing them,
I do like that they have a whole, like, this is like, again, I'm going to make comparisons to Division because I played a lot of Division. So this is like the same area that you're in, and all of a sudden, like, the Black Tusk is there instead of the Cleaners, and they're harder to kill, and there's, like, more going on.
they'll be able to gain these special shards they can take to go and use to purchase these big rewards that are available at these caches that are found littered throughout Helltide areas.
The sky darkens and the rivers run red, meteors fall from the sky, and the monsters get harder. We really want to create new experiences for the players. There's one I really like called Whispers of the Dead, which you get from the Tree of...
Oh, we're catching up to the actual... here.
Dungeons to play through and find in Diablo 4.
Here, I'll let it buff for a bit while I talk. Yeah, I like what's happening here. Don't get me wrong. I'm just nitpicking because I see flaws, right? I see flaws, and you can see flaws in anything. But again, when they say something out of their mouths, and you're like, thing ever, and you're like, is it? Oh, it's the more choice, is it? I like the blood sigils. I like that you can get those, change something, and then better loot at the end of the blood sigil. So there's more. Like the pyramid, like I said in the very beginning, it opens up the game to more, trying to do more things. So you have an hour to kill, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to focus on doing blood sigils today. I'm going to focus on doing, nightmare dungeons today. I'm going to focus on, and you can gather things and then do things and have choices of that. That's cool. Is this going to go through? What's happening here? Like all of a sudden,
Go and use to purchase these big rewards that are available at these caches that are found littered throughout Helltide areas.
The sky darkens and the rivers run red, meteors fall from the sky, and the monsters get harder. We really want to create new experiences for the players. There's one I really like called Whispers of the Dead, which you get from the Tree of Whispers. The tree grim and a little gruesome, but it's also something mystically haunting and there's one I really like called Whispers of the Dead, which you get from the Tree of Whispers. The tree...
Is it in the edit? The whole video's already done. I don't understand. All right, fine. We'll refresh. I have no idea why it's doing this. The whole video, I made sure was already buffed beforehand. Nope. Something's wrong with the video. All right, let me hear what you guys are saying while it's buffing again, and then we'll pick it up. If a multiplayer game could have good story, I'll play it. Sadly, very few do. Well, there's a lot of multiplayer games that have good stories. I mean, obviously, if it's a single-player game, they focus on story. Multiplayer, they do story, but they also have to make it for multiplayer, but it's just like more co-op type experience. It's happened a lot lately. Yeah, they must be doing something on the back end. I literally watched the whole video, so you would think that it would buff all the way through. I'm not sure why it's doing what it's doing. What the hell's going on with your internet in your home? I don't know. Let's check. Is that a shot at my internet? Let me see. Let's see what my speed test shows. I don't know. Yeah, something's happening. They might be working on the system because that is awful. I'm supposed to be getting 420. So there's something going on. I did notice a truck out earlier today when I did my walk. Yeah, see? It's not stable. Yeah, something's going on. Let's see if we can start it there. Gonna catch up though.
Beautiful.
The tree has a little bit of a grudge against our players and it would like for them to go serve its needs. So you're going to go serve these bounties, gather different rewards, different items, and bring them back to the tree in hopes that it can exchange you something really meaningful.
Maybe
Collection of one-handed weapons, a collection of boots, and collection of gauntlets. So you offer up stuff to the tree, and then you turn them in, and then you can get a...
we're going to go to the Fractured Peaks and take out some
Another,
werewolves that are rampaging in the
reward.
town. They're contained activities that you can do alone or in a group. We really wanted to create variety for people to be able to spend time where they wanted to in the world. It's very cool the way it's been put together, and I can't wait for people to see it, to be honest.
In Diablo
The Fields of Hatred. They couldn't have named it better. They couldn't have named it better. It's going to be hated.
4, we have a focus on the world of Sanctuary. And there are parts of that world that we call the Fields of Hatred, where Lilith's presence in Sanctuary has begun to seep through and manifest these poisonous areas throughout the world. When players go to these regions, they get to engage in player versus player conflict.
These offer opportunities for the player to collect shards. But there is a little bit of a catch. In order to get these shards back to town, you will need to purify them. Other players will definitely know that you're attempting to purify your shards, so you'd better be prepared to fight if you're going to
This is the Dark Zone all over again.
be playing any PvP, and be prepared that you might lose some stuff in the meantime.
Once they've got the purified shards, they can take these, go back to nearby towns to sell them, and then use that to buy a whole bunch of interesting cosmetic items and rewards.
It's a place for people who really love PvP and want to still get loot and still increase their character's power. If that's the way they want to play, they can.
What is it going to be? Okay, so you guys remember in Marvel Future Revolution, the mobile game that we played? I'm sure there's other games out there, but I played that one, so I'm going to talk about that. Okay. Remember the PvP zones that they had in the very beginning? It was the PvP, and it was you go into the PvP zone and just fight the bosses, and then they said, no, they gave you more points for killing guys, and then you collected the things, and it was like a time limit that you were in there for, and then they noticed that people weren't fighting each other, so then they literally made it where everyone that would come in, they would just be murder raids, like killing all the bosses and stuff in there. I see the same thing happening, right? I see the same thing happening in this. I see people like teaming up and like not doing anything and then just collecting the shards and then all trying to escape at the same time, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, obviously there's going to be people that can just, that are going to wreck your face, and they're going to steal your stuff, and you're going to have that Sea of Thieves feeling, or the Dark Zone feeling, where you spent 45 minutes gathering this stuff, and then you go to extract, and then you get it taken away from you because, a necromancer or a sorcerer that has, a bazillion points on their Paragon level come in and just absolutely destroy you. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance that out. Fields of Hatred, I feel like is going to be a very hot topic through this whole lifespan of this game, because if there's a power that's overpowered in the game for just the PvE, and then you go up against PvP and it's going to dominate in PvP, they will nerf it, which then will affect you, the person that doesn't do anything in PvP whatsoever. Like, if you don't want to go into the fields of hatred, or you don't want to do anything with PvP, but you're doing this certain build, but that build is destroying people left and right, they will nerf it and they will affect the game, and that's what I hope doesn't happen in this game.
Launch is just the beginning. One of the things we're really focused on is creating a living, breathing set of updates for players to engage with after the game has gone live.
It's really just going to be a way to keep coming back and experiencing more Diablo 4 in fresh ways.
We're really eager to hear all of your experiences and just enjoy the entire story with you all.
It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how. Well, I'm gonna have this playing on loop now, the background as we talk. 20 lower power players team up against one wallet warrior. Yeah, but obviously we don't know, DJ, if they say it's only cosmetic or whatnot. But what I'm talking about is that time investment is still a thing where if somebody has 20 hours, so let's say the Fields of Hatred first day. Okay, first day, everyone goes in, trying it out. Some guy put 20 hours in. Someone's just coming in. Majority of the people are just coming into Fields of Hatred, trying to do it. And they come in, and all of a sudden, they're just destroying everybody because they have a necromancer or they have a sorcerer that's high up already. They're like level 50, but they're in a zone with the level. Like, how is that going to work? Have they talked about that anywhere? Has anyone else? And I'm asking, has anyone else watched any other videos or information? Like, how are they going to separate the people? Like, if I'm a level, Paragon level 102, and you're a level 20, are we in the same Fields of Hatred? Obviously, I understand that there's probably going to be, like, if you get to a certain level, that's how you get into the Fields of Hatred. But same point of proven. Like, if Paragon, let's say you can only get in there at 100. Okay, well, fine, minimum 100. The other guy's 500. Am I in the same level as the guy with the 500, or is there level caps in the Fields of Hatred? I know there's multiple Fields of Hatred. Could be level cap depending on the area, right? And I hope there is, boss. But my biggest fear for this game is the PvP, and nerfing weapons, because there'll be a time. Because there is a weapon out there, or an ability out there, or a perk out there, or a glyph out there that will be the meta, right? Whatever class you are, whatever thing there is, there will be that. Get this glyph, get this piece of gear, take this perk off this. This is the build you want to get. This is the meta. And yes, it could take time to get to that meta, or it could be super easy. And once you're at that point and you're playing the meta, and all of a sudden now you're in a PvP build, you're going in, and all of a sudden you're destroying people, they're gonna be like, I can't even play this. This is bullshit. And you're gonna get people, they're like, well, get good. Meanwhile, then everyone starts to get that piece, right? Everyone starts to get that piece or that gear, and then it makes it equal, okay? And then they nerf it, type of stuff. That's what I hope, that when they make changes, it doesn't affect the PV. Because if someone's not playing PvP at all, and again, vice versa, if you're a PvP player and there's a piece of gear that drops in PvP in the Fields of Hatred and it's just badass, by all means, you earned it, right? You played that section, you got that thing. But that thing can also not be the best thing in the game. You see what I'm saying? Because they said it themselves. You can play the game how you want, right? But if the best weapon is behind a section that a minority of people play, then they're forcing you to play that, and then all of a sudden that's the piece of gear or piece of armor or piece of glyph or whatever you get from there is going to be the meta. Then that's a problem. I think if the loot complements the build but is not the build, you know what I mean? Right. That's what I'm saying, though, boss. But regardless if it's optional or mandatory, if it's a PvPvE game, which it is in certain sections, okay, there's going to be complete other PvP sections, right? There's going to be a whole sections of things. It stops that section every single time. It stops that. There's going to be sections that are just PvP. If there's, regardless of PvP, you got stuff all in PvE, but that gear that you have while in PvP dominates other people, they will nerf it. You know that, right? Come on, you can't deny that they're not going to nerf something if it's just destroying something. I think the Fields' hatred is only cosmetic. No, they literally show you can get this stuff in the Fields of Hatred and then go back to the thing. Go right here. You literally get the unsavory, whatever the shards that you get from that, and you come back here and you can purchase cap, tunic, gloves, boots, pants. I mean, I see what you're saying. They could be just cosmetic, but they could have boosts of certain skills on there. This is just cosmetic. There's not going to be any stats whatsoever on this stuff. All right, let me turn it back on and listen to it.
A little bit of a catch. In order to get these shards back to town, you will need to purify them. Other players will definitely know that you're attempting to purify your shards, so you'd better be prepared to fight if you're going to be playing any PvP, and be prepared that you might lose some stuff in the meantime.
Once they've got the purified shards, they can take these, go back to nearby towns to sell them, and then use that to buy a whole bunch of like interesting cosmetic items and rewards.
It's a place.
Cosmetic items and rewards. Okay.
You sell them, and then use that to buy a whole bunch of like interesting cosmetic items and rewards.
It's a place for people who really love.
Okay, so my next question is it enough to get people to do the Fields of Hatred then, if it's just cosmetics? No, it's good. This is why we have a conversation. Is the driving factor now for people that like PvP to go play PvP?
Of PvP.
Fields of Hatred main purpose should be PvP, but yeah, I get what you mean. I was there, tons of cosmetics though in beta. Could even be more on the final launch. It'll be interesting. If it's just cosmetic, I think it opens up to more people, and then there won't be balancing issues. But if they implement something into PvP where it's more than cosmetics, then they're going to nerf and buff things. That world boss looked pretty cool. Oh, he's stuck inside that. Is he sucking their energy? I think that's what he's doing. I think he's literally sucking the energy of anybody that's inside there. Yeah, the big explosions there. That's cool. Right, at least that's the intention. It isn't good for just cosmetic stuff and rewards. That's the next part of the question, right, Jesse? I was under the impression that they're giving gear out. When they said that there's just cosmetics that Boss brought up, then I'm like, the people that like PvP, are they going to be like, well, it's not worth it for the cosmetics? Well, they'll probably lock some cosmetics behind the PvP only items, which is fine, right? Which is fine. If you want to if you want to look that way, then you would have to go play PvP. At least you don't lose stuff, as far as like you're not losing your gear, or you're just losing the shards that you get from there if you die. But again, there's always these systems that you can do in these type of PvP, open world PvP type of things, where you kind of come across like friendly people because they also don't want to fight. They just want to get the items. So they'll be like, hey, they'll message you or whatever, and they'll be like, hey, you want to just work together? Yeah, sure. Right? Because you can kill everything around you because it's a PvP/PvE section. Boss says, me personally, I'm going to do both. And yes, I like the thought of getting something out of PvP, but knowing I'm preventing enemies from getting something pisses me off. Is it pisses me off or pleases? Oh, pleases me too. Oh, pleases me too. Okay. Just watch Twitch drops. You can get the same cosmetic, but in a different color. Yeah. You can change the colors. There's a template on cosmetics. That's pretty funny though. You just just watch Twitch. You'll get a drop. Overall, I'm excited. What's the temperature you guys feel, right? Like I feel like the more I see of stuff, I haven't been worried about Endgame. I feel like there's plenty of things to do, and now knowing that there's other things to do, and they say there's other things coming, I think my only discrepancy with this game is the respect system, right? Is the respect system. I'll stick to it. I watched the video and Ferguson came out and someone said, I forget the wording that they used. They said, is it going to be where you can't, because they said, I don't want 5 sorcerers is what they said. And basically what they were asking was, is there a way to respect so I don't have to make 5 sorcerers to try something new? Oh, it was loadouts. It was loadouts, and they said that there's no loadouts at launch. And I was like, ooh. And I feel like there's something behind that, right? The reason there's no respect, the reason there is no loadout is because there's something behind the scenes that they want you to do. Skip, pay for, and I know they said there's no there's no microtransactions, but follow me here, right? It's sort of like the buy this to skip 20 levels or buy this to get better XP, right? And I feel like they might do that, hence why they're not doing it at launch for like seasons or something. And I'm not trying to say that they are going to do it, but it just feels strange to me that you would put in the design of a game that instead of just making me switch out my stats for my skill tree, that I have to go make another barbarian. And then once I'm done with that barbarian, if I want to try something else with a different barbarian after I put in 100 levels with it, I got to make another barbarian. That to me seems the biggest problem for me. Boss says he's definitely excited. Quintard says really hyped for the game. The only thing I saw that slightly worries me about that really is that the video where they say employees are asking to raise for raises and Blizzard is telling them they can leave. Well, that just means the game is done, right? To that point, they have enough content. That's why they say if you don't like it, you can leave. I mean, good for them for asking for a raise, but you gotta also accept the. I've been in jobs before where I ask for a raise, they say no, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go get another job. And then other ones, they're like, okay, we'll give you a raise. Cosmetic changes your looks and 2 kinds of cosmetics in the battle pass and field of hatred and players already have. Right, the battle pass, which they haven't said. Now there is a stream on April 20th, which is 420. Pretty sure that's on purpose. Yeah, only cosmetics and no microtransactions is always a gray area. Nothing. I don't care if they blow through the game and leveling it so slow. It takes a while. Oh, for sure. I don't think. I mean, obviously, even if you take, I think if you speed run this through, you could probably beat the game in like I would say 15 to 20 hours, right? I don't think when you hit level 50, I don't think you're done with the campaign. Because people were leveling up to 25. It stops at that spot every single time. People were leveling up to 25 in the beta in less than 2 hours. There's not just 5 acts, there's a map under the map. Yeah, I understand that. It's like Elden Ring. There's a map on top. It's like a yeah, but we don't know if it's the whole map, if it's just another section. The story's about 8 hours. That seems a bit small, even for a multiplayer game. I guess not. I guess not. No, you're about right, Quintar. I'm thinking about it now. When Destiny came out, the first Destiny campaign and Division campaign, things that have co-op in there, they're shorter than the rest. Oh, I'll be fine, George. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about me. I'm not worried about me at all. I'll find time. I'll have plenty of time. I look at every nook and cranny. I'm gonna listen to every dialogue. I'm gonna go through the story. People will be done with the game, and I'll be like 10. Yeah, I'll be fine. No, that's not how I play games, boss. I literally will be like, oh, I'm doing this town, and then I'll do everything in that town, and then I'll go to the next thing, and then I don't just run through the actual thing. I see side quests. I see events happening. Well, there is something happening with my internet. I'm gonna do a speed test again, just to see. Yeah, there's definitely something happening. Yeah. I'm assuming from the 2-hour run to 25, that's some of the speedrunners. I mean, they just know how to level up, right? They go to the higher difficulty, right? So you got to remember that if you go to the higher difficulty, these high-end players are going to just tear through things, right? If they play on Torment, you're getting what does it say in the video? The video in the very beginning, it says the Torment level, right? It's like an additional 30% or whatever it is. For each thing you go up, or 10%. So if you're not doing adventure mode and you're doing like Torment, Torment 4, but again, they're slowing you down. Everyone starts on veteran. That's the higher difficulty that you can play, veteran, right? The high end tier players are going to go through veteran speed run up to tier 2 or tier 3, and then going to tier 4. Yeah, see, I was thinking, I was like, I was just gonna do adventure for the story and stuff, but then I'm like, what's the point? Why play on tier 1 and then I have to play tier 2 to get to tier 3? Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to get to tier 3, so there's no reason to play tier 1. So you might as well just start at tier 2. You and me both, Mike? Oh, exploring everything? Yeah. I took my time with the first character. It took me 8 hours. In what, Quintar? In 3? Or are you talking about in the beta? In the beta. It took me a while. I would say it took me about 5, 6 hours to get a character up to 25, maybe even longer. It was 4 hours after the other characters. Yeah, you have to beat the veteran first to unlock the others. Yeah, there's no point to play unless you're a person that's just playing one time through. You've never played Diablo before. You're like, I'll play. But veteran should be the one that you start off at. If you want anything to go past tier 2, you got to play tier 2, because if you play tier 1, you beat the whole thing, then you have to go back again and play it all again on tier 2. Is there a lot of kids that are 7 and up? 7 playing Diablo? I wouldn't let my kid play Diablo. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't let him. Just it's not because of it's just all the gruesomeness and blood. You know, I don't want to mark my kid to give him nightmares. Let that be with his friends. He's gets afraid of the dark or something. Like that, I saw Satan. Okay. let, let that be on someone else's. Not gonna be on my watch. I played the heck out of D2, maxed out all the characters. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm gonna get enjoyment out of this game. One, even if I play one character, which I don't think I would just get one character. I might get one character to be like the main character. Then I'll get other characters to just level up and casually play over time. And I'm talking over time. I'm not talking about, and I'll put the game down after a while, right? We'll have our main character play through the story, do the things. Guys want to play. Anybody's like, hey, you want to play? We'll have a Diablo night. We'll play through a dungeon or blood or world bosses or whatever. But I literally played Marvel for 2 years, right? I played Destiny for 6 years. I played World of Warcraft for 5 years. I played, like this game I'm going to be playing. I'm not going to be playing it every day. I'm going to be playing it when it comes out nonstop to get my main character up and whatnot. But then slowly get the other characters up. I'm not going to be worried about trying to get all like 5 characters and then the 6th character comes out. I'm not doing what I did with Destiny. Definitely not doing that. They claim the new season every 3 months. If they truly go this fast, I might only have time for perfect one character a season. Yeah, see that with a game like that, with a game like this, I should say, I still don't understand the concept of the seasons in D3. Right? Like I'm playing D3 right now, and I'm like, okay, I get the gear, right? I do it with Division, right? You get the gear for that season. And then once I get the gear, I'm like, I'm not going past a certain point to get like the banner. I don't give a shit about a banner. I don't care about a picture profile or anything like that. I totally get it though. Like if you're a person that's a diehard person, all of a sudden you're playing and all of a sudden you see this guy with like this devil horns coming out of his thing with this banner flaming and got all this stuff, and you're like, dude, that guy's been playing a while, right? You know he's good at the game, but at the same time, I don't care. I don't care. right? I cared back a decade ago when I did what was it called in Destiny? Nightmare? No, we got the flaming skull. What the hell was that? What was the blue flaming skull? I forget what the actual event was called now. I've literally purged everything from my head from Destiny. I forget what it was called. Was it the Nightfall? Buck comes out of nowhere. George too. Buck's not even watching the thing. He was doing something else. He's like, 30 has a Destiny question. He's like, let me log in real fast. I gotta answer it for him. Yeah, Nightfalls, right? I cared back then. Now I don't care. I don't care. When I log into Division and I see someone that's like level 6,000, I'm like, good for them. Right. Yeah, complete the nightly the weekly nightfall. Yeah. Yeah, Buck, you don't speak at all, and all of a sudden he's like, what is that? 30 has a question about Destiny. There it is. Yeah, I used to run it all the time. And then I would sit in the tower with the flaming head, and people would be like, oh. They come up to you and look at you. Now I just don't care. Right. As I drive, I circles around the new destination looking for one type of patrol. And that's another funny part. That's a good, actually, I like that you brought that up. Let's look at some of these comments, right? Let's look at some of these comments. Let's see if I can find some good comments here. Right? There's people like upset about Diablo. And some people are saying like the Paragon system is too easy. The game's too easy. It's too repetitive, too boring. And I'm like, if you like a game, you honestly, like the person making that comment is the same person that's putting in 2,000 hours. Like, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, this game is terrible. I hate doing nightmare dungeons. And they're like, well, how many have you done? Oh, I've done like 5,000 of them. I have 2,000 hours in the game. It's like, well, that's why you hate. That's why you hate them, because you've literally destroyed yourself to them. You see, the shard purifying thing feels. Let me bring it up. We'll read through and see if we can find some good ones here. The shard purifying feels like it's a dark zone from the Division. Yep, that's exactly what it is. +5 dex, +5 dex, +5 dex, +5 dex. A true endgame experience. Let's see what. Let's go into depth here. Yeah, it's basically Path of Exile tree. +5. Yeah, I've never played Path of Exiles to the end game. So is that how it is in Path of Exile? They give you the +5, +5, +5 thing. I don't think those are normal starter nodes on the board. There are all those other types of nodes further in the board. Just bad timing in the vid. I don't know if it's bad timing in the vid. Can't wait for my +5 decks. People are a little upset about the board there. Growing your powers +50 or 50+ skill tree points. Rotational Paragon boards with different tiers and nodes ranging from normal to legendary. Glyphs sockets on the board. Codex of Power holds legendary aspects that can also be put in the weapons gear. Unlocked through completing dungeons. Okay. Nightmare dungeons. So he's doing the breakdown there. The end game will be likely 85 keys for the dungeon door to open. You just don't need one key. You need 85 keys to open that. Joe's looking like he's been working so hard. Those Paragon boards are everything I feared. What does that mean? It's not just +5 stats in case the video's poor presentation scared you. How does he know that? You don't want juicy +5 decks? What about the 50 armor node? +5 increased damage of every crowd-controlled enemy around you, and up to 25 is also a rogue, would also be valuable. Yeah, people are worried about just the board. Diablo has never had an issue about increasing numbers. It had an issue with diversifying through thought and measure, or through a measure, and see the game is simple to balance, but just flat numbers. The game ends options of flavor simplicity and the cause of all their backlash of their games game mags. I expect my character will be able to expand like Wilson and also develop your skills unique way and really have individual build. What is shown to me, there's just smells like at least things can do. Yeah, but this guy's taking he's taking assuming that it's like that. I didn't get that from the video. Avengers was criticized for bland environments, yet I see so many popular games that are worse, and nobody says anything about the environments are bland. That is very true, George. Very true. That Avengers skins update was like 7 gigs. Okay, I deleted the game from my hard drive, and I wanted to see it. So after I got off stream last night, I went to go download it. 158 gigs. 158 gigs. You actually don't get all the skins, though? You do. You do. The only ones you don't get, which I think is stupid, is the ones that are locked behind the character cards. Like, if you didn't do the character cards, yeah, 158 gigs of what? Cosmetic skins, I guess. Let's see. Okay, so the Fields of Misery. You wait for others to collect the shards, and then you purify them and wipe them out if they are weaker than you. Then they really have to make this game enjoyable for any playstyle. Even the psychopaths who favor others doing all the work for them. That's exactly what's going to happen. That's a game plan that used to be in Division 1 and Division 2. When you go to the dark zones, well, less than Division 2 because no one actually goes into the dark zone. You would literally you would do all the work. You would get all the stuff. You would go around with your crew and blah, blah, blah. And then you would run over to the helicopter. You would call it in. And then you would get attacked immediately. And then you would lose your stuff. Happens all the time. It happens in the DZ in the when we played a couple times in Call of Duty. That is an actual thing. Why didn't the video reinsure me that D4 Endgame? I don't understand. They literally showed you. Did they seriously release an almost 4-minute video of them saying, when you play the game, gameplay happens? Did they say that? That's great. I didn't even pay attention. When you play a game, gameplay happens. When you drink the water, you get wet. For leveling dungeons, seems to be the way that once the dungeon is found with the fastest clear time with the optimal number of elites, it will be the rinse and repeat. And the other 100-something dungeons are moot. Very true. Very true. Now, if you're playing by yourself and you don't have the internet, which you can't play then, well, let's just say you live under a rock. You're playing this game. You don't ever go on YouTube or anything. But you play all 120 dungeons. But then you happen to find that these 10 dungeons are faster. And then you find out by yourself that out of those 10, these 2 are the fastest. And then you're like, I really like playing this one. And then you just rinse and repeat. Why go play the other ones, regardless if they have? Because once you beat them once and you get the code, right? The codex from there. There's really no reason to do it. But now there's the internet. And the internet, we have millions of people playing the game, and there's only 120 dungeons. This is going to get broken down real fast of which dungeon is the best dungeon to rinse and repeat. So it really doesn't matter. The thing that would be interesting to do in a game like this is to make randomly generated dungeons. So that way that would never happen. I'm really surprised that games haven't done this with the procedurally generated stuff like this. It boggles my mind. There's 120 dungeons, and I guess if you double that with the blood sigils, then there's 240. Yeah. This cracker is the best cracker. It's better than Ritz. This is the problem. When you play so many games, and I think I should have a conversation. We should have a video of this down the road. But I'm 44. I've played a lot of games, but I got tainted to be very cynical later in my life, right? Because I had a night good games, but now gamers now, all the games that come out are like leaps and bounds from what they were when I was a kid, right? I grew up with Pong, okay? And kids now, their first game is Call of Duty. Their first game is Elden Ring. Their first game will be Diablo IV. These massive, beautiful, open world games that are just look like fantastic. And then they play that said game and they love that said game, whatever the game is. And then their next game, right, is the sequel to it. And there's like, yeah, it's not as good as the first one. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? Like they're completely and utterly spoiled. And I think this is why boards and internet and everything else is so toxic at times, because they're so instantaneous gratification, and then what they had something that was so good. Like for instance, I had to wait 44 years, or actually 40 years, for Star Wars Land to be built at Disney World to go and like enjoy like a thing. But I'm already tainted because I hate what Disney has done to Star Wars. But my son gets to see it in year 4 of his life and was blown away, right? But now he's seen it. So when he sees something else in the park, he's like, man, because his expectations were already through the roof. And then to the next thing, so like, if he sees the new land, then goes to the old land, he's like, yeah, this is boring, right? You see what I'm saying? So like a lot of the gamers now, they're spoiled rotten with the graphics and gameplay and how big they are, and just all the bells and whistles. I look at a game and go, this is goddamn amazing. I remember playing a block, 5 pixels hitting 1 pixel. I think you can only get certain aspects from specific dungeons. Yeah, Grim. So in certain things, and this is a good thing you brought up, certain dungeons, and this even makes less dungeons then for you, right? Once you find that one good dungeon, if you're a one-character person, you can just highlight over the dungeon, and when you highlight it, it says what is in there and who it's for. So if you're a barbarian and that one's giving you a sorcerer thing, there's really no reason to go do that to get that particular reward, but you can go in there to see if you can get a legendary, right? But if you're just running for legendaries, Or people, what they're doing is they run in, kill the elites, and then reset the dungeon. Run in, kill the elites, and then kill, reset the dungeon. Let's see what you guys. Super Mario was the first, and Duck Hunt. Did you know, boss, that if a kid wanted to play Duck Hunt right now, they could not use the gun? Right? Because of the monitors that we have now? Because it's not a CRT? You have to have a CRT for the reflection of the light to come back into the gun. Yeah, you can't play Duck Hunt right now if you have the TV that you have. So if you want to get an authentic Duck Hunt game to play, you have to get an old television set. I'm confused. Will aspects be unlocked or currency to add to the reobtain for the future gear? Because no. So once you have it, so if my example was if you're only playing one character and you go to that dungeon and it has that for sorcerer, there's no reason to get the reward there. But if you're going to play other characters, your first playthrough, go do all the dungeons because you'll get that, and then it'll already be in your inventory, and then you can give it to your other characters. Once you unlock it, it's unlocked. But revisiting the dungeon to get the thing is not going to change, right? So if the sigil that's there, okay, if the sigil that's there was sorcerer, it's not going to be barbarian next time. All the sigils that you get are going to be all in the game, and once you unlock them, you have them. The only reason you're repurposing the dungeons is to try to, complete it faster, get legendaries. Maybe a drop happens in there. Maybe the butcher shows up. Maybe it's the fastest dungeon to do. Maybe you're doing a daily, mission or weekly mission. That's the replayability you're going to go through the dungeons. But if you're farming for gear, because random drops everywhere, so people are going to find the fastest dungeon, the shortest dungeon, the quickest dungeon, however you want to say it. You shouldn't be playing Duck Hunt anyway. You should be playing Diablo IV. Super Scope 6. What was Super Scope 6? I'm going to have to look that up. Called Super... Oh, yes. I do remember that. Yeah. This is what Mo's talking about. Like a mini bazooka that you put on your shoulder. I have to say that wasn't a very good game, though. Wasn't a good game. They do have Duck Hunt now, but you have to use a controller, and you move the reticle on the screen. Terrible. Okay, this guy says, you will have 200 plus points for Paragon board. Some nodes will provide bonuses like your damage is increased for blank percent for every dex point you have around. Get stats nodes in some cases will be mandatory. Stats that have their own passive bonuses and also have their source or additional bonus percentage of different stuff. So basically, you need every +5 dexterity that you can get for mid-maxing or just get stronger. This and the previous one are linked. Many questions. Is there something for people that want challenge, difficulty, or bosses for mechanics or etc.? So that's true. So for mid-maxing, you're going to have to pick on the board. You're going to have to pick the thing that you want. And this is the thing I was talking about from Diablo 3, where if you just wanted strength, you just pick strength. Maybe when you go up in the world tier, you can get the enhanced version of the aspect. Plus, in the end game of the video, it says that you can have a chance to get an aspect rather than unlocking immediate like the beta. Interesting. Okay. So you're saying in tier 1 would be different than tier 2, and then tier 4 maybe a better sigil, perhaps. See, I don't know if that would be it though, because the loot that you get is going to be a higher piece of gear, but the world is coming up with you regardless. So basically, you're trying to put stuff on you to negate the squishiness, right, or the resistance on the bad guys, right? So you're all at the same level, but you're actually getting weaker, and that's where the Paragon stuff comes in. Hence why the +5 dexterity, +5, strength, whatever it is. They have a light gun now that works on modern TVs. Do they, Ford? I haven't seen it. I didn't know that. Right, Buck. We used to just go up to the screen because after a while it wouldn't register. So you just put the light up to the screen and then you just pull the trigger and then it would it would just take it out. It just spitball on. But at the very least, you may have to run the dungeon 10 times to finally get the aspect drop. Well, it was definitely a. So they said it that doesn't drop every time, like in the beta, like the one time in the beta, it has a chance to drop. Is that what they said? Did they say that, or are you saying that at a higher tier it doesn't drop? Yeah, see, I thought it was one and done. I think what Grimm is saying is in the higher tiers, he's spitballing, saying that maybe at the higher tier, it's not a one and done. No, not every dungeon had the aspect, but not every dungeon also didn't have an aspect for your character. It's not a guaranteed drop. So it was a guaranteed drop in the beta, though, stealth. It said in the video that they said it was a chance to drop in the aspect. At least that's what I thought I heard. What part was that at? That was at the. That was the blood dungeon. That was the nightmare. Was it the first part, or was it the random dungeon part? Endgame exploration. It was there.
Activities in Diablo 4 that suit what you're feeling in the mood for.
The Forces of Hell are starting to have more influence in certain parts of Sanctuary in the vast interconnected overworld of the experience. And as the players are going into Helltide areas, you're going to find even more powerful monsters. And by killing them, they'll be able to gain these special shards they can take to go and use to purchase these big rewards are available at these caches that are found littered throughout Helltide areas.
The sky darkens and the rivers run red, meteors fall from the sky, and the monsters get harder. We really want to create new experiences for the players. There's one I really like called Whispers of the Dead, which you get from the Tree of Whispers. The Tree
It literally stops there.
But it's also something mystically haunting and kind of beautiful.
The our players needs. So you're going to go serve these bounties, gather different rewards, different items, and bring them back to the tree in hopes that it can exchange you something really meaningful.
Maybe you're going to go to the Fractured Peaks and take out.
I like. Did you hear what she said? I love that.
Hopes that it can exchange you something really meaningful.
Hopefully, it gives you something meaningful.
rewards, different items, and bring them back to the tree in hopes that it can exchange you something really meaningful.
Maybe you're gonna go to the Fractured Peaks and take out some werewolves that are rampaging in a town. They're contained activities that you can do alone or in a group. We really wanted to create variety for people to be able to spend time where they wanted to in the world. It's very cool the way it's been put together, and I can't wait for people to see it, to be honest.
That's the Fields of Hatred. Where was the part with the beginning here?
We're going to have an entire world of Sanctuary for our players to offer. There's going to never be an absence of something to do.
After the player has finished the campaign, there's a lot more game to go and participate in. They gain access to a special, what we call capstone dungeon that they have to complete. Once they're able to finish this capstone dungeon, they're going to gain access to the first world tier.
As you complete the world tier, it will open up the opportunity for you to go into your next world tier. That involves unlocking powerful loot, new items, and more advantages for your player to have a better opportunity at endgame.
Whether you're a fan of dungeons, PvP, or just roaming around the world, there's a way to continue your Diablo adventure long after hitting max level.
He's just very motivated. Very motivated.
As your character continues to grow in power, you'll start with the skill tree and expand out into the Paragon system.
A lot of the choices the players make are grounded on skills themselves and the fantasies associated with those skills. The Paragon board is a place where we allow you to have a lot more depth, a lot more customization, many more options as you go.
You can rotate the board, so you can choose a different path if you're like, I want to do more strength-based things, or I want these particular boons or glyphs. You can chart your path through it, and they're really a way for you to keep expanding your character and making it uniquely yours.
Similar to the
most unique glass I've ever drinking out of.
Paragon boards is the Codex of Power. It's an in-game system that holds the aspects related to the character. You are able to complete a dungeon, and they will have a chance to drop an aspect.
I missed that part because I just assumed that the aspect dropped already because I played the beta. I didn't. I just glanced over what she said. Okay.
Related to the character. You are able to complete a dungeon, and they will have a chance to drop an aspect that you can pick up.
And what this allows players to do is take items they're finding in the world and make them more powerful, turn them into legendary items.
It's really special to discover.
Oh, that makes sense then. Because
finding in the world and make them more.
Because if you put the Codex of Power on that weapon, do I have to get another one to put on another weapon, or once I have it, I have it? Right? Is it the same? I never tried this in the game. I never tried this in the beta. If I take that and put it on my gear, do I lose it? Once you have it, you have it. Okay. But it's a chance that it's a chance it drops. You don't automatically get it now. Because that actually makes sense. If you lose it because you put it on something, then you would have to go run it again. So that I guess that makes it better. It makes it better that it's a chance it drops, because if it automatically dropped and you have it, it'd be like super easy.
More powerful, turn them into legendary items.
It's really special to discover.
All right, there you go. I didn't think, because it's like you look at it one way. It's like, well, if it has a chance to drop, then once you get it, you have it. But if it drops all the time, then once you use it, it's gone, and then you have to get it again. You see what I'm saying? But if it is, once it drops, you have it, then that's fine. I wonder what the drop rate would be, though. And I wonder what the drop rate does when it goes up to get the aspect when you are, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 type of thing. I usually have that moment where I get what I want. But the first time, I remember there was I was watching. They did something, and it's not Lono. Lono did the because he got the gun, but he just didn't get the roll that he wanted. There was someone that couldn't even get the gun. They did it like 800 times to have this thing drop, and it never dropped. Not even one bad roll. Nothing. It never dropped for them. I forget what game it was. What game was that? Was it Destiny? I think it might have been Destiny. That drop rate would just infuriate me. I would be like, "Nah, I'm done. I'm done." But that at that time, the sunk cost fallacy inside that time, your time sunk into that game. You're like, I'm sticking, because you're so far into it now. You're like, I need it. I need to get this. Otherwise, it's I've wasted my time. And then there's people like me that do it the very first time it drops, and everyone's like, "You asshole." The RNG changes. The RNG changes once you get the gun once. That's bad when you can't even. Yeah, yeah. He couldn't drop. I was like, how unlucky are you? I ran. I got the icebreaker in that game real fast. I got the uh the hell is the Galahorn really fast. And there was one other one I got super fast, and one of my friends, it took him 6 months to get, and he ran it all the time. Right, the skeleton keys. He got it the first run. Get the pitchforks. Get him. That would be funny if that was a thing in the game. Like, you get something, and then everyone's like, and then all of a sudden it goes from PvE to PvP to the death, and whoever's the last person standing gets the loot. I never liked playing World of Warcraft or the other MMOs where you had to roll. You had to roll for the loot. I was never lucky with that. I was never lucky with that. I hated it. I hated it. I like when you go in now to an MMO and you all do a raid or you do a boss fight, and at the end it's just your loot. It's just RNG. It's not he gets the gloves, he gets the boots, he gets the stuff. It's like, why? Island hearts in the Lost Ark on some islands are the same way. Oh, that you can't get them? Yeah. I wonder what the real drop rate for legendaries is. I think they're going to be pretty. Well, okay. First off, I can make weapons into legendaries, right? Water. So, and then you could also roll. Now you can gamble by doing events, and then taking that currency going into the town. It's like a 1 out of 4 chance that you get a legendary. Now that was in the beta. Even if it's a 1 out of 7 chance, if you just went around and got, enough coins, and then came back and said, I need a tunic or I need a helmet, you could probably get 3 on a lucky day. You could probably get 3 legendaries. Just maybe not the role you're looking for, but you can get 3 legendaries probably just from that. I'm sorry. I remember Buck said, I love playing games that rely on hopes and dreams. I heard 4 affixes rares will be even rarer drops in legendaries. Yeah, but I'm okay. I think I'm okay with it. Like, if it moves from let's say it's a 1 out of 4 drop chance. Okay. Now here's what I want to know. And I brought this up a couple weeks ago. Okay, let's say we're playing in a server and we're just in the open world, not a dungeon, right? You're just in the open world. I mean, it could be connected across everybody, but sometimes somebody didn't get any legendaries. Someone told me they played Diablo and got like 2 legendaries the entire time, and I got 3 from 1 drop. Like, from 1 kill, I got 3 drops. I wonder if it's linked. So let's say there's 12 people on the server. You're in the open world. You're playing events or whatnot, and you you kill one of the event bosses and a legendary drops for you. If it drops 1 out of every 1,000 drops, and let's just say, for this example, that 12 people are stuck in the same server, and they're doing all these events and stuff, and one person gets the drop, and now there's not going to be another legendary drop for another 1,000 drops. You see what I'm saying? So 1,000 kills or whatever it is. Not 1,000 drops, 1,000 kills. And then the next one drops, and then, player 2 gets one, and then now you do it again, and then player 3 gets one. Well, the 12th guy is going to be that guy who gets screwed out of not getting a legendary right away. You see what I'm saying? So I wonder if the 12th guy gets that 1,000th kill, and then boom, whoever gets that 1,000th kill gets that legendary drop. Does that make sense? I wonder if it's like that, where it drops so often, and whoever gets that kill gets that reward for that particular thing. Yeah, I got 3. I got 3 from the boss there, but I'm talking about not the world boss. I got 3 legendaries from just an elite in a dungeon. I killed him and he dropped 3. He dropped 3 legendaries for me. I was like, oh my god. The math is mathing a little bit. It's like Vegas playing the odds and somebody in the area hits jackpot. No way in hell you're going to get one too. Right. Perfect example, boss. I wonder if that's how the legendary drops is. If it's not, and it's just, it drops 1 at every, let's say you go to the vendor. In the beta, it was 1 out of every 4 chance you would get one. I hit it again, and I got one right away. I got 3 legendaries, 3 or 4 no, it was 2 legendaries 2 times. So I bought some pants. I got like a blue, and then I got legendary. I was like, oh my god. And then I went to helmet, and I got legendary. And I was like, oh my god. So let's say it's a 1 out of 4 chance, and now for the full-fledged game, maybe it's a 1 out of 7 chance. And the average price of the thing was like 35 or 40. And every time you do a thing, you get 20 to 30. So by the time you put in to get 300, by the time you spend that, you can maybe get 1 legendary for your time spent. And I think that's a good rate. Because if you're not getting legendaries, you can at least upgrade the gear that you have to help you out before you get your next legendary. People that want that constant, get me that good gear, you're going to get pissed. I think you're going to get pissed. Not you, but that type of person. World boss dropped me 6 legendaries. That's because he knew you were playing on a PlayStation, boss. Just knew you were on the better system. I got 3 from the Outriders boss in the beta. Sorry, wrong game. It's okay. And then when you played the regular game, George, you never got a legendary again. Maybe it's more about the 3 I would use on my character. Well, that's another thing, right? If you get a legendary drop and it's not even for your character, that hurts. I hate when that happens. But at least you can take the piece off of it, if you're a 1-player character. I would like for legendaries to actually look legendary. Like have some type of skin animation on it or make it stand out. Well, that would cost extra, Water. That would be the cosmetic thing that you're going to buy in the marketplace to make your legendary gear sword with flames type of thing. Also, the weekly award for the world boss for beating the boss gives a little bit better reward. Right. Good news. I don't know if you guys heard this. The testers behind the scenes before we had the open beta. In the open beta, they actually you can only play this time slots. They said that there's going to be multiple world bosses, and on top of the multiple world bosses, there's going to be more time slots. Like every hour it happens. Jesse, thanks very much for the subscription. Let's see here. I wasn't a PC. Oh, I was on PC, but he knew. There you go. He just knew. Just knew. My Necro that was legendary looked pretty badass. Looks something like the big RE creature Afterlife used. is required. What is required, Horseman? What did I miss? Once at Activision Blizzard, no legendaries on PlayStation. Oh, right. Has never been taken more than 10 runs on a raid or dungeon to get a specific exotic. 10 runs, though, and how fast can you do the run, Buck? Like, I mean, your first time is probably the longest, right? And then after that, it's like super short. Well, not super short, but much shorter. So what do I say, about 2-3 hours? I guess it would be more than that. Like 5 hours. Jesse says +5 dex equals based. What was that the answer to? I'm sorry, Jesse. I don't know if you're caught up to the video or not. More spawn times. Yeah, they said more spawn times would be in the thing. Yep. Final Fantasy 14 super rare drop sucked. They had super rare drop rate. When you had to roll the dice again, sevens other people. Oh yeah, that sucks. Yeah, see, I don't like that at all. When your generosity is high in games, it makes people play the game more, not less, right? See, the mentality they have is that someone that puts the game in and starts to get, and they don't get anything, they're more likely to leave, right? They're like, I put in 6 hours and I didn't get anything. They get aggravated. Where if you give them a legendary, but it's not the right legendary or not the right role or not what they're looking for, but they're getting it, that keeps them coming back, right? That's like the trail of breadcrumbs trying to find what you need. There's really no topic right now, Kuda. We watched the Diablo Endgame video, and we're just bouncing all around all different stuff right now. But it's true, George, right? What would you rather have, right? Right? It's true. Like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have nothing and then someone go and breaks you off a piece and then gives you one every 2 hours? Or would you rather get a consistent drip feed of, oh, I got a legendary. You get your endorphins hit. You're like, oh, I got it. And then you look at it and go, oh, yeah, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, that strength was a little bit higher. If that dexterity was just a little bit more, and if it had that piece, 2%. That 2%'s not bad. I'll take the 2%, right? I would take that all day long. And then all of a sudden you play another 20, 30 minutes, you get another one. Boom. You're like, oh, no, I don't like that. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it for now. And then if I get one better, right? At least you're getting something. You gotta check out the new Star Wars Lego stream. What are they doing, Stealth? Probably not. I'm done in 15 minutes here. Extract the aspect, but that's what I'm saying, boss. I feel like giving us a legendary, you could get something from it, right? You could use it. It might not be the best thing for you because what you're waiting for, but at least you can use it. And if you can't use it, you can break it down, right? Diablo was pretty good here. They drop legendaries all the time, especially up on our Torment 16, at the point where waiting for Ascent legendaries and Primal Ancient legendaries. Or, I'm sorry, Ascent legendaries. Yeah, I think, I hope the drop rate that happens, like I was just playing Diablo 3 the other night for like an hour, and I was getting a pretty good drop rate, and I got some good legendaries, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll need them, but I hope Diablo 4 does the exact same thing. I hope they're not stingy with the loot. Yeah, Sarge, what stage are you on? Are you on 7? Is it in the house? You unload it? Can you plug it in? Let me know when you're on stage 8 in your house hooked up. Legendary drop rate in T16 are awesome. Sure, but how long did it take you to get to that point? Do you know what I mean? The the value at the higher tiers should be better and the gear is better. You know what I'm saying? Like the likelihood of you getting your drop perfect roll type of thing should be more at that tier, right? But at least when you're at a lower level, you don't want to discourage the person to be like, "Yeah, I'm never." Hopefully, there's multiple ways and they all work the same. So, for instance, let's say I do like if the fastest way to do is to do the events and get the coins and then go back and gamble for the P's, or is it to run the dungeon, reset a dungeon, run a dungeon, reset a dungeon? What is going to be the fastest way? Because this is what it is. I've always said gamers are like water, right? They'll find the cracks, they'll find the fastest, they'll find the quickest way to escape, to get out. So, what's going to be the fastest way to get legendaries? Is it going to be world bosses, right? Because if you can kill the world boss, it's once an hour. You get 3 drops or whatever, but it takes 15 minutes. You can do it in 6. That's 6 minutes, right? Once every hour in 6 minutes, I can get 3 legendaries. If I do all of these events to get 500 coins and then go gamble it at the vendor, that takes me an hour, right? So, what is it? Do I do the events until the world boss happens, and then when it happens, I do the world boss, get 3, and then spend the coins to get potentially 3 or 4 more to get 7 in the hour? Do I just keep running a dungeon over and over and over and over and over to get it? People will find that out real fast. Is it plausible that even in PvP, when you're killing other PvP members, like other characters, do drop loot not from their stash, but do they have a chance to drop stuff in PvP? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, path of least resistance. Right, boss. If you could, it doesn't even matter if it's a streamer though. You're just a kid, no job, you sit at home and you could play for 10, 12, 14, 16 hours. You're going to have an advantage. They're lowering the drop rates as well. So maybe 1 legendary from World Boss. Oh, they're lowering the drop rate? No, or not the drop rate, the actual drop. So instead of 3, there's going to be like 1. Well, all right. I guess that kind of makes sense if it's once an hour, right? Depends on the group. Raids typically 50 minutes. Dungeons probably about 35 minutes. Right. So if you're doing that, you said 10. So if you divide that or times it, sorry, okay, talking 10 hours, 7 to 10 hours. That's an investment. That's an investment for some people, and they get discouraged though. We got ducks. My wife just came in, so we got some baby ducks. Or on the drop rates as well. So maybe one legendary read that. It depends on the group. Already read that. I live live at my damn job. Act like I'm crime when I extra days off. Still on stage 5, stress testing. They're definitely stressing you out. They're testing the stress levels on Sarge. They're gonna lose their mind. They're like, we're gonna need you coming on Saturday. Next time. Hopefully there's not a next time anywhere time soon, Water. I'm gonna need you coming on Saturday. Correcting something here. The drop rates are being lowered in comparison to the beta, not more than they already said. What did they already say though, Akuda? What was the original that they said? And they're lowering from the. We knew they were lowering from the beta. I didn't expect. I don't even think we're going to level as fast. More XP, more gold, more drop rate. I'm going to do some time in on Sunday too. Yeah. I'm going to need you coming on. You have a red stapler on your desk. That's what you do, boss. You walk into your office, and you have a red stapler. Look at him and go, I need 2 days off. This is my red stapler. If they look at you and be like, just say red stapler? 3 times more than normal for legendaries. 3 times more. So if you played 10 hours in the beta and got 3 legendaries, in 10 hours you'll only get 1 legendary. Just as an example. If you played 10 hours through the beta, you got 10 legendaries or 3 legendaries, you're now getting 1 legendary in the amount of time that it took. Well, that last one we lost, Sarge, but those were good games. We were holding them back left and right. I really like that game a lot. I always have. That one guy, I've got to figure out the sound to get people to hear on stream. Because that one guy, the characters, man. Like there's some guys that are just characters. What's his name? Eagle Eye? Eagle Eye was like this like really southern guy, really nice guy. And he's just like, God damn it. They got me over here. You guys are gonna get this. They're over by the. And I was just, I was like, this is amazing. I love the communication. Okay, the communication in that game is like second to none. I love it when people actually talk and play the game. It's an amazing game. That's how I talk, by the way. There's an XP boost during the beta as well. Yeah, I don't think you're going to go up as fast. Yeah, Jesse, I knew there was going to be Unreal Engine 5. We actually talked about it. We weren't sure. We assumed it was going to be Unreal Engine 5. We said it's Unreal Engine 4. We knew that, and we said it could be plausible that they use it to Unreal Engine 5, and now it's official they are using Unreal Engine 5. That wasn't Sarge that I helped. That was a completely different. That was a rando. Sarge was commander. Sarge was commander, so he wasn't there. Yeah, look, a lot of games I play are not very popular, right? So like, I'll play like the baseball game, or I'll play like Hell Let Loose, and I know it's not going to bring in a lot of views, but man, I have fun playing those things. Hell Let Loose is, if you're looking for a first-person shooter game, like an actual, like if you miss Battlefield of old, and I'm talking of old, of like 1943 or 42, okay? Hell Let Loose, they've made leaps and bounds in that game over the last 2 years, and they're going to keep adding more to it. It's a fantastic experience, but don't go in thinking it's Call of Duty. Don't go in thinking it's Battlefield. It is literally a war simulator game. You're building supply runs and barricades, and you're doing strategic points. There's always a battle going on. It's slow to start. It starts off like this, and then it ramps up like this, and then it plateaus, and then it goes up again, and then it plateaus. It's a really good time. No, he wasn't barricaded in, George. But the guy that you're talking about, when I revived him, he went up in the air. He was up on that. That was a rando. That was a person in another group. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love, one of my favorite things in that game is that the fact that, okay, so if you hit the LB button, that turns your microphone on and off, right? On and off. And then if you hold the right bumper, you can pick your party chat, right? Your party chat, which is white. There's the blue chat, which is like just like everybody around you, okay? And then if you hit green, it's just your squad chat. Hell Let Loose, Ford. Okay, so there's 3, and then if you are the squad leader, if you're the squad leader or officer of your squad, there's another channel that can only talk to the actual commander. And the whole point of the way that they thought about this was like, commander can only talk to officers, and officers can only talk to their squad, right? But everybody can talk to everybody. So when you're running into a war and everyone's around you, and there was that one town we had last night, right? That we were surrounded, and we held it off for like 20 seconds or something. We had 40 seconds left on the clock to win, and then we got pushed back, and then we won anyway. But you could hear the area chat. Everyone's in blue, and everyone's talking to each other, and screaming, and asking for help, and asking for supplies. It's such a good time, and you guys hear nothing. You guys are hearing nothing, so you're not getting the experience that I'm receiving. I gotta figure out how to get the sound from my Xbox. I don't know why it doesn't capture the in-game sound. The only way that you could hear Sarge or anybody is when they're in party chat through the Xbox. I gotta try to get Hell Let Loose's audio into the stream. It's so sad that EA closed their online services for Battlefield 1943, not 42, 43. Akuda Papa, have you played? I know you like Battlefield. Have you ever played Hell Let Loose? I think you would like it. I think you would like it. Here's a guy. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna show his video. I just found him recently, and he's a pretty new, I guess, YouTuber. I don't think he's been around. If I can find his. He's only been on YouTube, oh, about 2 years. He's got 29,000. and his name is Husk, right? You should go watch some of these. This is pretty funny.
I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Turn it around. I can't do this. Ah! Why is the water warm?
Gross.
When we first landed on that beach, I was scared for my life. So I looked for someone to stay close to, hoping it would keep me safe. Let's go, Falcon. Me and you, buddy.
Together forever.
We can get out of this alive.
Oh, I don't know about me. I'm a bullet magnet man.
Don't say that. Just keep moving forward. Holy sh...
I'm going behind this tank.
I'm right behind you. Oh, we made it. God.
Let's go, let's go.
No! Oh, hell. I gotta get off this goddamn beach. I stayed cowering on that beach.
He does like a
until the screams
diary
of dying men stopped.
while he's in this
I
game.
eventually made it to my squad leader, but I wasn't ready for what he had planned. I made it off the beach.
All right, Sonny, drop those supplies and get in there.
Those things were really weighing me down back in the water.
You got this, Husk. I'm leaving this up to you. Clear this compound on this attack mark and keep your head down.
Yes, sir.
Drop your grenades.
Just the community that's in this game is like hardcore, right? Is hardcore. It's a really good game. It really is. There's lots of bugs and glitches and stuff like that. You'll get rubber banding and stuff like that. They're working on that. They're fixing that type of stuff. But if you're looking for a game, I don't even think it's full price. I think it's a $40 game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's $40. But it's a fantastic game. So if you're interested in it, and I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, just a fan of the game. We've been playing it for about 2 years, a little over 2 years. Sarge is almost level 200. I just made it to level 50 like 2 days ago. I think we're 53, 54. Yeah, but that's the best part. Just sticking together, and then there's people that don't talk at all, right? There's actually another video this guy does. There's a whole bunch of them. Got a whole diary. I've only watched 2 of his videos so far, and they're pretty funny. They're pretty funny. But yeah. So Hell Let Loose. You gotta check that game out if you're interested in the war game. It's 12 o'clock. It's time for me to go eat some lunch. I do appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us this morning and talk about some Diablo. We are going to be playing Diablo. I'm still debating if I'm going to get it on the opening weekend or not. I don't think I'm going to, because I don't think it's going to be very stable. I might make it more as we get closer. We'll make that decision when we get closer. We are going to be buying Jedi Survivor when it comes out. That game does look really good and fun. We'll be playing that in the evenings as well. Starting next week, we are going to be playing Jedi Fallen Order to get ready for Jedi Survivor. We're not going to play through the whole thing, I don't think, but we are going to play through that game to kind of get the cobwebs off, get used to the mechanics of the game again, and get used to it. Tonight, I don't know what we're playing. There is no podcast because Sarge's computer is still on stage 6, so it's in testing right now. So they haven't shipped it out to him yet. So hopefully by next week, we get the Generation X Gaming podcast back up. But tonight, we're either going to be playing and finishing out our first season in MLB The Show with Jack Burton. And if we don't do that, then what we'll do is we'll play some Hell Let Loose or something. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having a chat with me this morning over here on 30 NSG. Have a great one. Peace.